Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt is back in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. And yes, this time he's fighting an evil, state-of-the-art AI called the Entity that threatens to topple the world's government. Battling an old foe, played by Issei Morales from La Bamba, for a key that the Entity wants, Cruise has to recruit his old team, plus a master pickpocket, played by Haley Atwell, for his most impossible mission yet. And I have to say, one has got to give Tom Cruise and his director Christopher McQuarrie credit. The two constantly push the envelope, and in each other, they've found kindred spirits bent on delivering the type of old-school thrills you just don't see anymore. After watching the latest Indiana Jones movie lose its soul in a sea of CGI and the various superhero movies, it's a treat to see Cruise and McQuarrie doing some real cutting-edge practical action with some legitimate stakes. When people die, they stay dead, and as invincible as Cruise's Ethan Hunt may seem, there are limits to his prowess. Unlike some other action stars, he doesn't always come out ahead in fights. He's more of a scrapper than even an action hero like John Wick. What's always made Ethan Hunt such a likable hero is his moral code, along with the fact that, as always, his life is secondary to those he loves, being his friends, even if it inevitably means that being associated with him puts them in danger. Cruise's Hunt is more world-weary this time, as if the weight of 30 years of service to the IMF are finally weighing on him. The movie kicks off when he's sent to intercept a deal involving Rebecca Ferguson's Ilsa Faust, who's seemingly gone rogue. Once again, though, he's not being told all he needs to know by his boss Kittredge, played by Henry Czerny, in a nice full-circle moment for the franchise. And he's going to have to use his own moral code to take down the movie's big bad. What's interesting is how Dead Reckoning Part 1 doesn't hesitate to go full sci-fi, with Hunt battling a rogue AI called the Entity, which has enlisted a baddie so evil in Issei Morales' Gabriel that Faust calls him a dark messiah. Death is his gift to the world. If it all sounds a bit overwrought, well, just go with it. The movie, which is somewhat more somber than previous installments, seems to be building towards something of a climax for Hunt, even though, as Cruise has said again and again, this isn't necessarily the end of the road for the character. What the movies have always been known for are their action scenes, and there are some spectacular ones here, including a frantic car chase through Rome that puts a similar one in Fast X to shame. The climactic train sequence, which involves Cruise's motorcycle jump, is one for the ages. It climaxes in a fight on top of a train that seems to be a direct reference to the ending of the first Mission Impossible, only done practically and on a much larger scale. The stunt work, much of which is actually done by Cruise himself, is amazing, especially at the very end, which I'm not going to spoil here. You really have to see it to believe it. Cruise is pitch perfect as Hunt, and his supporting cast is once again top-notch. I think we could probably all agree that Rebecca Ferguson's Ilsa Faust kinda deserves her own spin-off at this point, with her one of the best action heroines out there. In fact, though, all of Cruise's leading ladies are excellent, with Haley Atwell getting the movie's second leading role as the pickpocket who becomes embroiled in Hunt's mission and winds up being his foil. Palm Clementieff is also very impressive as the nearly mute assassin Paris, who's bleach blonde and chases Hunt all around like he's the Roadrunner, only to have actually a deeper payoff than expected. She's really good in this. Issei Morales' Gabriel is a bit undercooked in that he's built up to be pure evil and really not much else, but it works with the tone of the film. Peg and Rames are having the time of their life as always, and Shea Wakeham, sporting an awesome coif, is another agent set after Hunt with Greg Tarzan Davis as his partner, both of whom alternately chase and help Hunt as required by the plot. They're kind of like the more working class version of the IMF, and I kind of like that. Additionally, the movie has an incredible look, especially if you see it on IMAX. Fraser Taggart's cinematography is very impressive, with it seemingly paying homage to the kind of adventure movies they used to make in the 60s, like Where Eagles Dare and the early James Bonds. And the production this time is really special, reminding me a bit of Ken Adam actually. What's really cool is how tactile everything feels. You can tell that CGI was used sparingly, and if it is, it's almost invisible. The score by Lorne Balfe is good as always, nicely complementing the movie's darker tone by occasionally taking on a more bittersweet, somber vibe. My only complaint really is that the Entity, given what we know about AI now, almost feels a bit quaint, with presented as this eye avatar being a singular being, like Skynet. Then again, I suppose a movie about an actual battle against AI would mostly take place with people on computers. I kind of prefer Tom Cruise jumping motorcycles off mountains onto trains, frankly. As far as action movies go, you aren't likely to see anything come out in the same league as this until Cruise and company return with Dead Reckoning Part 2. Like John Wick Chapter 4, it proves that the old ways, with less CGI and more actual stunts, are always better, and I give this one a very strong 9 out of 10. For what it is, it's pretty perfect.